Welcome back, students. In this video, we are going to study about the female reproductive system. And this system is much more complex than the male reproductive system for the reason that female reproductive system will accept the sperms from the male, then it supports the movement of these sperms up to the egg, and fertilization also occurs inside the female's body. And if fertilization has occurred, then post-fertilization changes occur inside the body of the females. That is the reason this system is much more complex than that of male reproductive system. We will discuss the parts of the female reproductive system, and first part is a pair of ovaries. These are two almond-shaped ovaries which are located in the lower abdomen. On one side, these ovaries are attached to the wall of the uterus with the help of ovarian ligament, and on the other side it is attached to the pelvic region. Inside the ovary there are round or oval bodies which are called as follicles, and inside the follicle there is ovum or the egg along with many follicle cells. These eggs are at various stages of development. Inside the ovaries, the follicles along with the eggs are present in the female child before their birth. Though they will be released after the age of puberty, but they are present before the birth. Before the birth, about 2 million eggs are present inside the body, and at the time of the birth, the number reduces to 1 million. Till the time girl child reaches the age of puberty, number still reduces to approximately 4 lakh. And out of 4 lakh eggs present inside the body, only 400 plus eggs get a chance to mature and are released. The reason for this is that female fertility age starts from 13 years, that is age of puberty, till 50 years. So total reproductive life of a female is approximately 35 years. Unlike the reproductive life of males who can produce sperms throughout their life starting from the age of puberty. And in females, only one egg from one ovary is released every 28 days. If 1 month right ovary has released one egg, then next month left ovary will release an egg. So alternately they release one egg every 28 days. And at this rate, total of 13 eggs are released per year. So seeing the reproductive life of a female, so just 400 plus eggs get a chance to be released. Rest of the eggs, they break down and they are absorbed within the ovary. Ovaries are the heterocrine glands, which means they behave as exocrine gland also, they behave as endocrine gland also. In the exocrine part, they produce the female gamete which is called as ovum or egg, released by ovary and then sent into the fallopian tube. In the endocrine part, ovaries release the female reproductive hormones which are directly poured into the blood, and these hormones are estrogen, which is responsible for the production of ovum and also for the secondary sexual characters in females, and the second hormone is progesterone. Mainly this hormone is released during pregnancy or during the fetal development and also during the breastfeeding. Similarly, a pair of testes is also a heterocrine gland, and heterocrine glands are also called as dual glands. Ovary is connected with the fallopian tube, also called as oviduct. This fallopian tube can be divided into three parts. First part, which is connected with the ovary, is funnel shaped and it is called as infundibulum. Then there is ampulla part, which is the widest and the longest part, and the last part is isthmus, which is connected with the uterus. Fallopian tube is highly muscular and its inner lining is made up of ciliated columnar epithelium, and this cilia helps in the movement of egg inside the fallopian tube. Significance of fallopian tubes is that fertilization occurs inside the fallopian tube. Uterus is large and inverted pear shaped, and it lies just behind the urinary bladder. It has highly elastic and highly muscular walls. Its elasticity is such that it can expand 500 times its original size. That is, it can expand from a size of 10 cm cube to 5000 cm cube. And its muscular wall undergoes rhythmic contraction and expansion movements. Role of uterus is to receive the ovum, form the placenta, and development of the embryo also occurs inside the uterus, and then when this fetus becomes mature, it is expelled out with the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscular walls of the uterus. Then there is vagina, which is elastic and muscular tube, approximately 7.5 centimeter long, and its role is it receives the penis during the sexual act, allows the menstrual flow, which we'll be discussing later. It also serves as a birth canal and expels the young one, and this process of expelling the young one through the vagina is called as parturition. Last part is vulva, where urethra and vagina open by separate apertures called urethral orifice and vaginal orifice. Vaginal orifice is also called as hymen. Now get your notebook and a pencil. We will learn to draw the diagram of female reproductive system in a stepwise manner. For this diagram, first of all, we will draw this vertical line. This line will provide symmetry to our diagram. After drawing this vertical line, we will draw a horizontal line which is approximately 5 centimeter long. It is 2.5 centimeter on one side and 2.5 on the other side of this vertical line. After that, we will come 5 lines below and put a dot. Join this dot with this part with a slightly curved line. This line is more curved in this part above, and then it becomes almost straight. From the other side also slightly curved line which will join this dot. Now this is the inverted pear-shaped uterus. So we will turn these lines into these irregular shapes and then double it. For doubling these lines, first of all, we will draw very light lines so that the thickness at all the places remains uniform. Then convert them also into irregular lines. Inverted pear-shaped uterus is this. After this, we will draw ovary. There are two ovaries, left and the right ovary. So first we will draw left ovary. You can see the position of the ovary. It is slightly almond shaped and it is connected to the uterus with the help of ovarian ligament. Similarly, on the other side also, we will draw the right ovary with the help of the ovarian ligament. After that, we will start drawing the fallopian tube from this part. Fallopian tube is connected to the uterus on one side and to the ovary on the other side. So, we have drawn one side of that tubular part. So, start from here and bring it to the end of the ovary here. Now, we'll make the other side. This tubular part is highly coiled structure. Though we have made it straight, but it is highly coiled part. At the end, this part is the funnel shaped. So we will bring this end and connect it to the other end of the ovary to give it a funnel shape. So this funnel shaped part, which is called as infundibulum, it covers almost whole of the ovary. So eggs from the ovary come out from here and pass through the fallopian tube. We will draw other ovary and the other fallopian tube also. Around the uterus there is another wall. So we will start from the top and make another wall around the uterus. After this we will make this wall around the other two sides also. But we will start from the bottom because at the bottom the mouth of the uterus is open, which is called as cervix. So leaving small gap at the bottom, we will draw other two parts. So this is the gap for the cervix that we have left, and then we will start another wall on the left side of the uterus and on the right side of the uterus also. Now we will draw the vagina part. Start from little above and bring this tubular part up till here and let it go straight down to form the canal-like structure. Inner wall of this canal is irregular shaped. So we have drawn it from both the sides and the shape is irregular. Double it from both the sides. Up till here it will come and then it will go straight down. On the other side also. This whole canal is the vagina, and the place where the vagina opens, that is called as vulva. Our diagram is complete now, but we can do a little bit of shading. First of all, shade the inner wall of the uterus, ovary, ovarian ligament, and the outer wall of the uterus. I have put the dots. It's your choice if you want to put, or it can be shaded lightly also. Shade the outer wall of the vagina. So with this, diagram is completed, and now we will do the labeling part. Preferably labeling should be done on the right hand side, and first we will draw lines using a scale, horizontal lines for all the parts that we want to label. So we have labeled fallopian tube, ovary, ovarian ligament, uterus, mouth of the uterus called as cervix, vagina, and the part where vagina opens, which is called as vulva. So this is our diagram for the female reproductive system. Every 28 days, ovary produces an ovum, and this ovum then enters into the fallopian tube. Movement of ovum occurs with the help of cilia, which are present in the ciliated epithelium, which forms the inner lining of the fallopian tube. And if there is sperm in the body, then this sperm travels through the vagina into the uterus, and from the uterus, this sperm enters the fallopian tube. So there are many sperms which are entering the fallopian tube, and only one of them fuses with the ovum. And this fusion of sperm with the ovum or egg is called as fertilization. So there are two cells, one sperm and egg. Both of them fuse to form a single cell, which is called as zygote. So fusion of sperm with egg to form zygote is called as fertilization, and this process occurs inside the fallopian tube. After the fertilization has taken place, zygote formed starts dividing and redividing into a group of cells, and then it is called as blastula or blastocyst. So after about a week of fertilization, this blastocyst, it descends down into the uterus and attaches itself with the wall of the uterus, or it gets embedded in the wall of the uterus. And this attachment of blastocyst in the uterine wall is called as implantation. So implantation occurs about after a week of fertilization. Then in another 2-3 weeks, that is approximately in the 4th week, a disc-like structure is formed, and this disc-like structure is called as placenta. On one side, this disc-like structure is attached to the growing embryo, and on the other side, it is attached with the uterine wall. So let's first understand with the help of this diagram. This is the placenta. On its one side there is growing embryo, on the other side there is uterus or the wall of the uterus. From the embryo side there are these structures which are called as villi, and they increase the surface area. And on the side of the uterus or the side of the mother, there is an empty cavity called as lacunae. This cavity is filled with blood, and from the blood all the necessary things, they are provided to the growing embryo. So after some time, when the embryo starts growing and changes into the fetus, a long cord is developed between this disc shaped structure and the fetus, and it is called as umbilical cord. This placenta serves as 3 main important functions. It acts as a nutritive organ because it provides glucose, respiratory organ because it provides oxygen to the embryo, and excretory organ because there are many biochemical reactions taking place inside the embryo or the fetus, and there are some toxic byproducts also, and those toxic byproducts are released back into the blood of the mother and are removed from the embryo's body. So placenta behaves as a nutritive organ, respiratory organ, and excretory organ, and all these things are done with the help of the blood of the mother. Every 28 days, one of the ovaries releases one ovum, and then this ovum enters the fallopian tube where fertilization occurs if there is a sperm. After fertilization, then implantation occurs inside the uterus, and then embryo starts growing. Now, every time an egg is released, anticipating the changes that will occur soon after, uterus prepares itself for the incoming events. It thickens its wall, which becomes cushiony so that it can protect the growing embryo inside. It also develops a large number of blood vessels because it will be the blood which will provide all the necessary materials to the growing fetus. So uterus prepares itself for the growing embryo. But suppose there is no sperm and no fertilization has occurred. In that case, all this arrangement inside the uterus is not required. So the lining of the uterus then breaks down if there is no fertilization even after the release of egg after few days. So the wall of the uterus then breaks down. All the blood vessels, they rupture. So the blood along with the tissue fluid comes out of the uterus into the vagina and then it comes out of the body. This process is called as menstruation because every 28 days an egg is produced. So this menstruation occurs after every 28 days and it lasts for about 3 to 5 days. Whole cycle of events which starts with the production of the egg in the ovary, preparation of the walls of the uterus for the incoming embryo and followed by the bleeding. This whole of the cycle is called as menstrual cycle. In females, menstrual cycle starts at the age of puberty when the reproductive organs become functional and this is called as menarche. Reproductive life of females is limited. It is approximately up to 50 years of age. So at this age approximately production of egg stops as well as this menstrual cycle also stops and this stage is called as menopause. So we have understood up till now that every 28 days one of the ovaries releases an egg and then it gets fertilized by a sperm. Zygote is formed, then blastula is formed which gets implanted in the uterus. Now sometimes it so happens that both the ovaries, they release an egg at the same time. So in that case, as there are large number of sperms, so both the eggs are fertilized by two different sperms. So there are two eggs which are fertilized by two sperms. So in that case, twins are born. And such twins are called as non-identical twins. They are just like a normal brother and sister because they are formed by a different ovum and different sperm. So they can be two sisters, two brothers or one brother and one sister. And the resemblance is as much as a normal brother and sister have. But sometimes it so happens that there is just one egg and one sperm and they are fertilized and blastula is formed. Then at the stage of blastula, it splits up into two identical halves and starts growing independently. So in that case, identical twins are formed because they are formed using the same egg and the same sperm, which divided into two halves at the later stage. These identical twins are very difficult to identify. They are always two sisters or two brothers. It cannot be one brother and one sister because the sperm for both is same. They can also split up into 3 parts, triplets, 4 parts, quadruplets, and so on. So it depends upon in how many parts it will split up. So identical twins are formed. And sometimes while splitting up of the blastula, there is incomplete separation. At some or the other point, it remains connected. In that case, conjoined twins are born. So they remain connected at some or the other body part. Life of such twins is highly challenging and they have to struggle throughout their lives for their survival. If they are little lucky, they may be separated, though they may have to lose one or other of their body parts. And if they are luckier, they can be separated completely and can lead a normal, healthy life. And luckier than them all are all of us. Because we are born normal and we can live our lives as we want independently. So with this gratitude that we are all normal and healthy, I end up this video. If you have not subscribed to my channel so far, please do that. Thank you so much.